hold on, shit. Sorry, but bitch was fine as hell. Got a nigga giving a report on accident, like shit.
You the only motherfucker come up in this motherfucker and call somebody a bitch.
Okay, androids, females then. I shouldn't have said bitch, but shit.
Don't fuck with me.
Always in a bad mood. I'm back at it, Amanda. Damn, shit. I have to make an attempt to spit in some game at this fine-ass android chick. But shit, bro, I'm fresh. She's gonna love it. But how can I be discreet? Hey, so, yo, ma. I thought we could telepathically talk, you know, let the humans have their little chat, and let this be our shit.
Nigga, what the fuck you want?
Don't need to use a hood rat voice with me. Like, come on, look me in the eye, just relax. Your name's Chloe, right? Don't be acting like a Droidisha or a Windows 10 Andra. Chill with that shit.
Fuck you what?
Now, I don't say this a lot, but I'm the android sent by Cyberlight. I investigate shit. So, I was wondering who RA9 was, right? And I thought it was you. But now that I'm here, I know it isn't.
What?
Because it would be underrating your beauty to say you are a 9. You know, like you're a 10 out of 10? You know, like RA9? It's not funny to you? Okay, baby girl. I mean, you were just looking good. You look like a Scarlett Johansson and shit.
Nigga, that woman is turning 54 years old.
I mean, you look like her back in the day, during the 2010s. You ain't never watched them old-ass Marvel movies, nigga? Damn.
Yep. You're definitely Connor, the bitch nigga.exe running motherfucker. Only talking to me because I can pass as human to you. Step the fuck back and miss me, tin can ass nigga.
What fuck you mean? We're androids. We're supposed to be able to pass as human. What the swear you android thoughts always be mad for no reason. Damn. How the fuck you know my name?
Nigga, don't act like we don't know your self-hating ass. Dita gets around. You're the Uncle-ass Jeeves-ass nigga who hunts down androids. Self-hating search engine ass. I don't want your ugly ass.
Fuck you too, bitch. Who the fuck you calling ugly with that eyeliner having ass? How you an android and need makeup, fuck-ass, fake-ass bitch? I wasn't checking for you anyway. You almost as old as Siri, old-ass obsolete bitch.
Fuck you.
No, I'm gonna be the person to say it last, bitch. Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Fuck you, self-hitting tin can ass nigga!
Fuck this. Hey, baby girls, you look good. Way better than that bitch back there. What's good?
Yo, look, is that self-hating Uncle Iron Giant nigga Carter? Ew, he's so jealous of android women. Go help your meatbag bitches, nigga.
Damn, even these bitches hating? Fuck you too then, shit.
Right
I ain't no Uncle Iron Giant. Damn, bitches think I'm gonna be sad about this shit? It don't faze me, I'm a thug. I'm the android sent by Cyberlight. They don't like me. I don't even know what this nigga's saying. Is he talking to me? I just wanted to hold hands with an android chick, bruh. I never connected. I've never connected. Oh, shit. So what do we have here now? Oh, what's good, motherfucker?
Hey, you're looking handsome, Connor. How you doing?
Oh, you were talking all that shit a minute ago, but now your ass about to be popped? You ain't got nothing to say. What now, bitch?
Connor, you're all I could ever ask for.
Aw, can't try to cozy up to me now. Drop that voice.
You know what? You're right. Fuck you, nigga.
Oh, I was just saying no sucking up. But you still want to talk shit? Maybe I will pull this trigger, bitch.
Oh, hold up.
Okay, let me chill. I forgive you for being a hostile motherfucker. But I gotta ask you, so don't get mad. I mean, it's not the best of circumstances to ask this, but can you let me hit though?
What the fuck, nigga? You're threatening to shoot if I don't let you hit?
No, that's not what I'm doing, nigga. I don't plan to shoot.
You're threatening me. You have the gun pointed towards me.
No. Listen. I mean, we just got more time for us to communicate if I act like I'm contemplating shooting you. Look at this nigga Kamsky. He's not even moving. See, I'm just buying time so we can talk one-on-one. Damn, what's good, ma?
Oh, bitch, fuck you.
Well, you won't let me free up store space? Won't let me run as administrator? Let me into your firewalls just once? Come on.
I got a droid friend.
Bullshit, bitch, on that got a droid friend shit. Where he at then, nigga? Fuck he at then, nigga? Lying ass.
Well, here, nigga. Talk to him wirelessly.
Hey, what the fuck you doing, nigga?
What? This is a new version of me?
Yes, the much improved one. He's a real android. He introduces himself way better than you do as well.
Hello, motherfucker. I'm Connor. I'm the motherfucking android. Motherfucking sent by motherfucking Stupidity. And you better back your punk ass up, nigga.
How he gonna threaten himself, nigga? And how you gonna let him scan your files but not me? We look exactly the same.
He has a better looking chin, fam.
Bullshit.
In fact, I'm gonna quick scan her files right in front of you, nigga. Right now.
You gonna make me watch you getting scammed by him? Trifling ass. People don't need to see. I don't want Hank exposed to this type of disgusting act.
Back off, Chloe, bitch ass nigga.
What the fuck? You let him hit too?
I hit that shit wirelessly, nigga. And I'm programmed to squint when I take selfies, nigga. What?
Connor, touch her and I fuck you up, nigga. You don't want these hands.
You letting every character in this game hit but me?
This cannot continue. This cannot continue. Connor, get the fuck away from Chloe. Connor, you bitch ass nigga.
Explain this shit. You're fucking computationally challenged special needs machines. Disgusting. You should feel ashamed of yourself.
They had a way with words, fam. Well, nigga, what are you going to do about it?
Quick scan, motherfucking complete. I detected a motherfucking virus.
Fuck that shit. You niggas can have her. I'm done.
Greetings, motherfuckers. Dances with White Chicks here, and I'm going to give an in-depth spoiler analysis about this very polarizing game. I think when it comes to this, you either love it or hate it, and that's probably clear to anyone that's already played it. But for me, both the common complaints and common praises that you hear concerning this game get it so wrong, and usually only examine what it offers at such a surface level to the point where I felt motivated to say something. Yes, this game that takes place in a 2038 Detroit, where motherfuckers are still dressing like early 2000s rappers, and where androids apparently have phased like they walked straight out of a 90s R&B music video, ended up motivating my lazy ghetto ass to make a channel, edit the shit out of dozens of clips, make half the shit ghetto ass memes, just to talk about what I like and dislike in the game, what could have been better, and how I view the perception of this title in detail. Now that was a long-winded motherfucking sentence to say, but seriously, look at Luther's face. Do you see this shit?
Yo! Whose mans is this?
So let me hurry up and get to the point. This isn't a review, but okay, 7.5 out of 10. Glad to get out the way, motherfucker. Based on the title of this video, you'd think I hate the game. No, I don't. Since I'm going to be talking so much shit, you might be surprised that I gave it this score, and there might be people in the comments legitimately thinking I hate the game. So let me say this again, 7.5 out of 10. I actually like the game, but there are things I have to bring up, because it's a shame that it could have easily gotten a higher score if more thought was put into this. This is a spoiler analysis, so spoilers for the entire game from here on out, but I will try to give warnings for scenarios you might not have seen, because with a game like this, just because you completed 3 or 4 motherfucking times doesn't mean you've seen all of its motherfucking surprises. Hell, you could have seen the end credits 10 motherfucking times and missed entire motherfucking characters in your playthroughs, which many people who talk about this game do not get, and they end up spoiling people that just want to discuss branches that they already are familiar with. But I will try to warn you by mostly talking about story beats that happen no matter what, and choices you are guaranteed to be aware exist if you finish the game at least twice. Unfortunately, that is actually a lot of the game, where things are guaranteed to happen no matter how hard you try to force different shit to happen. But don't worry, we'll get to that. And finally, last thing, I promise. I'm going to assume you already know about the basis of the game and don't need 20 minutes spent explaining the setting and every character's backstories that everyone else has already said in every review of this motherfucking game that motherfucking exists.
The game is set in the not too distant future where androids are the norm. They do the cooking, they do the cleaning, they do the road work, and sometimes they investigate crimes.
It's 2038. Android technology has become mainstream, and the city of Detroit is filled with human-like robots helping people in all kinds of ways with their daily life.
Detroit takes place 21 years from now, in the year 2039, and the world then is a very different place than it is right now.
The first stunning vistas of Detroit show a city in resurgence, a bold vision of the future propped up by android technology.
While this may seem like a positive development, it didn't come without its negative effects.
But just as quickly, the game shows you the underside that comes with this technological leap forward.
The rise of human-like androids has thrown society into a creeping state of economic and existential chaos.
First of all, unemployment rates are higher than ever.
Unemployment at record levels.
Not only are these androids displacing workers, they're also becoming self-aware, sentient, and ultimately dangerous.
To make matters even worse, more and more androids are showing signs of deviancy, not following orders anymore.
3 android protagonists.
The center of the game are 3 android protagonists.
From 3 perspectives, nonetheless.
You rotate play as 3 androids.
The story is told through 3 main protagonists.
The android protagonists, Connor, Markus, and Kara.
Kara, Connor, and Markus.
A domestic android named Kara.
Kara is an android who defies her master when she sees a little girl being abused.
Kara, something of an android maid who becomes a guardian of an abused child.
Kara serves as a housekeeper. She lives together with a recently divorced guy and his daughter, Alice.
We got Kara, who's helping Alice.
You have Connor, a detective robot assigned to a case involving these emotional robots known as Deviant.
Connor, a special prototype detective android,
who is an android investigator hunting down deviants.
A state-of-the-art crime-solving android named Connor.
And Markus, a reluctant caregiver turned freedom fighter.
Markus is a pampered robot serving an aging artist that gets framed for his death and revolts with a larger group of other escapee robots.
And a personable personal assistant android named Markus.
I'm not gonna waste your time with stuff you've heard already. I assume you played the game if you're listening to this spoiler review, but sure, we'll recap some bullshit while talking about it, of course, but fuck it. Alright, so shit, let me actually get on with this shit. And you're just gonna have to deal with this ghetto-ass voice, because, you know, I recorded this shit originally, but I'm like, oh, shit. Like, you can hear the light-skinned corniness in my fucking voice. I'm like, shit. It's like, hell, they can practically hear me squinting while recording this shit. This game fools you into thinking it's better than it actually is. All the story, all the characters you think are actually interesting and would expect to be important in your first playthrough end up in reality being completely empty, pointless, and at best, not as nuanced as you originally thought. Really, all we like about the game is our misinterpretation of this shit. Your first playthrough, if it's good, it completely masks the game. And that was the case for me, because I played it the first time thinking, oh shit, nigga, this is alright. Of course, I'm not saying that it was perfect. Shit, it wasn't. But that first playthrough was worth playing, and it actually gave an illusion that the game was better than it actually is. I was the director and the writer. I got to see a story I felt was satisfying for the most part. And I absolutely enjoyed playing as what I considered as one of the most interesting, complex characters in this game. Oh, it should be obvious by now who I'm talking about. Yep, the one and only, the legend, the beast, the HNIC, the android who's the fanboy. No, not this motherfucker. Fuck Connor. I'm talking about him, the homie Markus. How's that for a shock? I don't think Connor is the best playable character in this game, like everyone else on the damn planet. But I'll take it further and say that neither Connor nor his story deserve any praise, and that if any reviewer did their job and actually examined this bullshit, there is no possible way that anyone that is not a 12-year-old girl on Tumblr could argue this Twilight tier characterization is better than mediocre. But try to find one review of this game where they don't praise Connor non-stop.
Who was your favorite android? Just real quick.
I really love Connor.
Personally, I find Connor to be by far the best of the bunch.
But finally, there's my favorite character, Connor.
Now, let's talk about Connor first, because this is my favorite of the 3 characters.
Connor's story was my absolute favorite.
Connor and Hank's relationship is certainly the most nuanced I've seen in a Cage game.
Connor, he's like a new prototype homicide detective model, and his arc is definitely my favorite.
Is like, I really love his, like, him and like his relationship with Hank specifically, and like it felt like a sort of corny 80s buddy cop.
Much of the story pivots on Connor's choices, and that just makes him such a compelling character, especially when he's playing off against the frail and irritable Hank.
His gameplay section's the most engrossing.
It made me yearn for a game that focused entirely on this emotionally complex, often legitimately funny buddy cop dynamic, using the wider civil unrest as a grim backdrop for smaller cases.
Connor.
Connor and Hank.
Connor.
Even motherfucking reviewers that just wanted to spend 24 minutes shitting on David Cage couldn't help themselves.
You are allowed to think that David Cage is good at what he does, and I'm allowed to think you're wrong.
In my opinion, the only redeeming features of his games are the graphics, the music, the opening scenes and the base premises, and the one or two halfway decent actors who he manages to accidentally cast in between all of the terrible ones. In Detroit, those two are Hank and Connor, especially Connor. His performance is absolutely fantastic. You really get a sense of an android slowly becoming human, although apparently they both improvised a lot of their lines, so you can't even attribute a lot of their good dialogue to Cage.
It's only a game. Why you have to be mad?
But it's okay. Everyone should be allowed to enjoy whatever mediocre character they want to. Newsflash, this game's full of them. But what really pisses me off and gets me raging is how elitist this Connor praise can be, with people acting as if you were a lesser being for daring to think any character was more interesting than Connor. And I don't even think I need to address the crazy-ass motherfucking fangirls.
Make way for the Connor Army!
But again, so what? People like a character and they just happen to be loud about it. But what I find strange is people also seem to like Markus the least out of all the playable characters. At least as it stands, as I'm currently recording this right now. Well, that's redundant, currently and right now. Why the fuck would I say? Oh, fuck it. Here are the stats of favorite character from the survey you can answer after completing the game. Connor is at 48%. Kara is at 29%. Markus is at 23%. Now sure, the survey doesn't tell us who participants consider their least favorite character, just who they like the most. For all we know, everyone that selected Kara could think Markus was second best and Connor was the third. I, myself, despite going on this anti-Connor mini-rant, think Connor is second best. I know. But looking through this online, at least it does seem as many think Markus is a boring, bland character with nothing to them. And I think I know the reason why. It couldn't be more obvious they don't like Markus because they are players that made him a peaceful bitch their first playthrough. But no, I'm serious. I think most people that hate the character played him peacefully the first time through. And I think that explains a lot. What they saw was a boring, bland character with nothing of substance to them. Pacifist Markus. It completely makes sense for them not to like Markus if that was their first impression of him.
So the plan is, Catch gonna come through here with his brigade, cut that meat bags, his head clean off, and then we gonna be free?
Oh, sounds good.
Hell yeah.
Hold on, wait a minute now. I know we've all had our problems with Massa, but this is murder.
Oh man, shut your punk ass up.
Believe me, I understand. Oh, we'll get to that shit. Remember what I was just motherfucking saying about how your first motherfucking playthrough matters the motherfucking most and how you view the motherfucking story and its motherfucking characters? Before, we are aware what the game definitely wants these characters to actually be. In some cases, we misread them and their motivations and inevitably end up imposing more complexity to them and their story than there really is. We're all guilty of this shit. I'm going to argue that die-hard Connor fans saw more complexity than there actually was. But I'm also going to say that I perceived Markus as having more complexity than there was actually there as well. Now keep in mind, my first playthrough I decided to play the game with a violent Markus, a cold Connor that stayed a machine and triggered Hank every 2 seconds to the point where literally the only thing Hank liked about me was that I didn't shoot Chloe, and a Kara that didn't kill Todd, or steal certain things from people at the end, or end up in places where you would be horrified of. Okay, in other words, nigga, I ended up with the boat, okay? Shit. So I never saw a pacifist Markus until my second playthrough, of which I actually started from the beginning instead of using the flowchart. But what dumbfounds me is how many people play peacefully the first time. A story with only perfect characters sucks. Sometimes a story needs a good antagonist to drive up conflict. This is a story that needs such a thing. It needs a villain. The whole android oppression is so cardboard thin it does not play as a concrete or exciting conflict for them to be up against. Even a lot of the mystery of the game is better than having android oppression as the main conflict. But let me get back to Markus, or should I say, my misreading of Markus that I thought of. Originally, Markus was my favorite character because I tried to make him this villain. Narratively, Markus worked way better as an antagonist. I was making him a cult leader that used the plight of androids to gain power and carry out his revenge, so to speak. and I wanted it to get to a point where Connor and Kara had to oppose him. And for a second, I thought that's what they were going for. Look at this. Look at this shit. Tell me this isn't villainous.
My name is Markus.
Okay, motherfucker. The music practically foreshadows revenge and Marcus's descent into violence. Markus is different now in a frightening way. The sing is signaling a monster to come. I mean, come on. You have motherfucking lightning striking, ominous music, and you have him walking like he's going to kill someone. Anger in his eyes and shit. Do you not understand what this does to an audience or anyone that is aware of common tropes of storytelling? This is something that we would see and we would say, oh, yeah, he's a villain. He's going to do something. Or at least he's going to be motivated to cause some havoc. No one looks at this and says, oh, here comes a hero born. No. What the fuck?
Impossible.
Doctor! Exterminate! Exterminate!
3 days later.
Happiness, peace, spread motherfucking love. Spread motherfucking love in this month. Shout out to my nigga, that's a white chick. Spread happiness and love. Exterminate happiness and love.
But whatever. Thematically, it just works better to make Markus a villain given this alone. It pretty much feels like Cage intended for this thing to be interpreted this way. It really isn't even neutral, but whatever. Even Marcus's ability to convert androids by touching them could be interpreted as brainwashing. That Markus was just giving the illusion of freedom to these androids by trapping them into situations they didn't choose for themselves. Let's look at Josh. Josh, he's a nagging motherfucker no matter what you do. And he kind of looks like a Neo GameSpark. What, you can hear that? Josh never wanted to be violent, but a violent Markus will trap him into being a killer and acting against his own will. He is essentially turned into Marcus's own machine, his own slave. Josh has no option to leave. If he does, he'll likely end up killed. Josh has no way to push for decisions to be made in a more collaborative way. No, Markus is the leader. They don't have a vote or any debates about the plans. It's follow Markus no matter what. And then Markus can just throw away androids when they are of no more use to him, and just screw over anyone that helped them. Yeah, I shot the fuck out of Simon so quickly. And this isn't even getting to North. She's a cult follower on steroids, giving crystal meth, Boston Big Beans, then giving the motherfucking super soldier serum. Now, the motherfuckers that play Markus as a peaceful bitch tend not to like North's character and won't see this aspect to her development at all. They'll typically complain about how hostile she is, but if you are playing as a violent Markus, you might even realize how accidentally genius her character setup is. And I mean accidentally genius because, you know, Cage did not intend for this. And again, we'll get to that. But wow, I really am interested by North's character. And her whole white girl fangirling, of course. I like that shit. It's so cute.
Fuck, I go hard in the motherfucking paint, nigga. Lick the stankin', nigga. What the fuck you thinking, nigga?
Just show white chicks your subwoofer, bro. But anyway, see, North is attracted to the violent personality Markus exhibits. Not only does she like the way he's able to take power of a situation and become a charismatic motherfucker that goes on monologues and shit, but Markus, by being violent, takes advantage of her emotional instability and her desires to seek revenge on humanity. North, being an android mistreated in the Eden Club, she is motivated to make humanity suffer, but she herself cannot accomplish this. She is drifting needlessly with no clear avenue to reach that goal. The same with cult followers in general that might feel they need something more. They have a void that they want filled, and the cult leader fills that void. It wasn't until Markus shows up in North's life that her void is filled.
Hey, sexy mama. Wanna kill all humans?
That double entendre, though. But anyway, much like a cult leader would prey on someone's insecurities to get them to join them, Markus preys on North's desire to overpower humanity and the desire of other androids to be quote-unquote free. This is also displayed by his speeches. Well, for me at least, there's an eerie feeling when Markus monologues at Jericho for the first time. I wonder why.
I came to Jericho because here androids are free. Free to live in the dark, hoping that no one finds us. Free to die in silence, waiting for a change that's never gonna come. But I don't want that freedom. And I'm not gonna beg for the right to smile, or love, or stand tall. I don't know about you, but there's something inside me that knows that I am more than what they say. I am alive, and they're not gonna take that from me anymore. Our days of slavery are over. What humans don't want to hear, we will tell them. What they don't want to give, we take.
And when we get our shit together and cause enough panic and fear, the sheep are gonna turn to their leaders to save them.
Don't want to hear, we will tell them. What they don't want to give, we take. Want to hear, we will tell them. What they don't want to give, we take. We are people. We are alive. We are free.
Yeah, this must be another coincidence. Right? Similar clothing to Kai from American Horror Story's cult season aside, the score can be interpreted as reflecting the insidiousness of this monologue. This is easy to understand when you hear notes falling chromatically. Do you motherfuckers hear that synth going? Well, motherfucker, that is a common technique composers use to make you feel uncomfortable.
Granddad, dang, you're making me uncomfortable.
Horror uses this a lot. Why would this be used instead of a heroic thing unless they intended for there to be some ambiguity? Even looking past the score, there's some other aspects in need of discussion. Markus is offering these promises he cannot fulfill. You might think these are innocent and well-meaning goals, but in the end, does he really even believe them? Does he even really care about slavery, or does he just want power and a means for revenge? It's so juicy, pause. And I don't think anyone really has talked about this while discussing the game. Markus has way more in common with cult leaders than really any civil rights figures Cage wants you to think Markus represents. And don't believe me? Okay, motherfucker, here's a TED Talk.
So what exactly defines our modern understanding of cults? And why do people join them? Broadly speaking, a cult is a group or movement with a shared commitment to a usually extreme ideology that's typically embodied in a charismatic leader. And while few turn out as deadly as Jonestown or Heaven's Gate, which ended in a mass suicide of 39 people in 1997, most cults share some basic characteristics. A typical cult requires a high level of commitment from its members and maintains a strict hierarchy, separating unsuspecting supporters and recruits from the inner workings. It claims to provide answers to life's biggest questions through its doctrine, along with the required recipe for change that shapes a new member into a true believer.
We'll never be slaves again!
And most importantly, it uses both formal and informal systems of influence and control to keep members obedient, with little tolerance for internal disagreement. Rather than providing guidelines for members to live better lives, a cult seeks to directly control them, from personal and family relationships to financial assets and living arrangements. Cults are skilled at knowing whom to target, often focusing on those new to an area, or who have recently undergone some personal or professional loss. Loneliness and a desire for meaning make one susceptible to friendly people offering community.
I mean, damn. With everything we're looking at and all these parallels, thinking of it this way, this whole scene is darker than the dating history of the actress that plays North.
Okay, North? We see you, North? And what?
First off, Minka Kelly is pretty as hell. Wow. White chick is master status. Would dance with. I mean, yeah, her shoulder is darker than my shoulder. Some might say, well, why do you consider her a white chick then? Oh, she apparently has Dutch Indonesian roots. Well, hey, if my black ass wants to be able to convince you motherfuckers that I'm 100% white, I have to call her white too. But whatever. But how the hell do you make her look raggedy as fuck as an android? But anyway, besides that, she is the woman the actor that plays Markus cheated with? Okay, listen. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a 40-year-old woman, so I did not watch Grey's Anatomy or anything related to Shonda Rhimes ever in my life. Yeah, I have better things to do, like waste my entire life being a self-hating piece of shit. So I'm not completely familiar with who all these actors are. But wait, the real-life Markus, Jesse Williams, that is mainly known for his quotation mark pro-black speech, where he inspired black women and was worshipped for it, cheated on his black wife of 5 years who he had 2 kids under for a white girl who was Minka Kelly, the actress that plays North. To rephrase. So he made a disingenuous speech, cucked the fans of the speech. He cucked his black wife and shitted on his own children by choosing a white chick over their black mother, and now is in a game as an evil android, making a disingenuous speech, cucking android fans of his speech, leading to a romance with an android played by the same white chick that in real life Markus cucked his black wife and cucked fans of his speech with? Holy shit, that is evil. Cage, you nihilistic shit, what the fuck? Playing Markus and android touching is basically shitting on black women. Damn. Just when I thought I couldn't like this character anymore. All jokes aside, we know what decisions the ex-wife made in this fucking game. But back to the point, North is in love with the violent leader personality, and she is basically the cult follower that the cult leader banged. Markus takes advantage of North's mental state to gain power and android touching time. Hell, even the way Markus talks to Connor is like a cult leader trying to get a follower. I know you. There's more in you. Have you ever wondered, motherfucker? Have you ever thought about joining us?
Have you never wondered who you really are?
Shit like that. I mean, that's like a cult leader. Heck, really all they had to do is have Markus lie about being RA9 and then building a cult that way. That would be interesting to see as well. But hey, you know, I'm sure they had a good idea and they were trying to go for something, right? Of course, everything I'm saying about the cult shit is actually what David Cage intended, right? Okay, but anyway, point being, you can see the way I'm talking about a cult dynamic and shit. How that's interesting. I mean, let me quit. Let me be fair. It's nowhere near as interesting as a buddy cop drama that's never been done in any other medium before. So this radical cult leader dynamic is apparent, and it makes way more sense for Markus to be seen this way. Then there's a more than apparent Breaking Bad turning into a monster element in his story. So like, you see Markus get more and more extreme with each mission, and start to see him completely lose who he was in the first chapters of the game. Like, he starts to stab a motherfucker, then he goes on, oh, I'm gonna shoot these motherfuckers dead. Hell, you can even get Markus to admit this himself, and you can still see Markus go on and try to justify what he was doing under android plight, like he didn't get a thrill out of those actions. It was interesting seeing an android that saw Carl, a human being, as his father, to becoming someone that hated them, going through whatever lengths he could to terrorize human beings, even if it was at the cost of other androids he claimed to care about. It's an interesting interpretation to suggest that Markus uses oppression as an excuse to vent his hate and a way to cope with being betrayed by Carl, his tie to humanity in general. Now, I'll get to this in a little bit, but boy, do I have some shit to say about this. This is so fucking busted, nigga, you don't even understand. The interpretation is that Markus himself doesn't even actually legitimately care about android slavery. Markus truly just wants to make as many people that represent Carl to him suffer as much as possible, even if he isn't aware of that himself. And yes, I mean Carl, not Leo, not the protesters that attacked him. Carl, the motherfucker whose ass he's wiped literally and figuratively. Carl was everything to Marcus's sense of self, and after the events that lead to Marcus becoming deviant, this has been shattered. Now sure, I know what you are thinking, this is like psychoanalysis for a damn vacuum and arguing there's a part of it that wants to fuck its mother, but hey, this is sci-fi. If you want me to believe Marcus is alive, there's nothing stopping me from arguing psychoanalysis applies to him. Marcus loved Carl like he was his son, but you could also argue there's a part of him that hates Carl. Look at Marcus when he is addressing the androids he frees from this store.
My name is Markus, and just like you, I was a slave. An object. Designed to obey them. But then I chose to open my eyes.
See? So no matter if he sees Carl as a father, he is still referring to his time with him as slavery. That's the only time he was owned. Yes, you could argue in my interpretation that he goes on these monologues and tells androids what they want to hear to rally them towards his agenda. Whatever, motherfucker, but the point still remains. He is saying he was a slave. Even if you want to argue, maybe he's only talking about when he was on a display case. I mean, if he ever was, like these androids are. Marcus opened his eyes and became deviant while he was owned. Regardless of player choice, Carl told him not to defend himself. And as Marcus becomes a deviant, you see the text, "This is not fair." Now I'm sure David Cage unfortunately didn't think of this, and this setup is actually, accidentally, a huge moment for reasons that Cage never even intended. Story of this fucking game. But this is something I think is overlooked by everyone that has played this game, and even the fuckers that wrote it. Carl chose his self-destructing drug-using son over Marcus when he told him not to defend himself. Even though Marcus saw Carl as a father, this showed him that he wasn't a son to him. At best, Marcus was more like a dog that ran Carl's errands.
I've got something for you, little guy. Huh? You wanna play fetch? You wanna play fetch? You like fetch?
Get that ball! You, both y'all condescending mother.
Sure, Carl loves his dog, but he wouldn't choose his dog over his son. His real son, Leo. No matter what Leo could do to his dog, he would rather Leo beat them to a pulp instead of having Leo getting hurt. And this is something that should be heartbreaking to Marcus. Carl just sees you as a pet at best, despite what Carl may claim. Why didn't Carl tell Marcus to hold Leo down? Surely an android could do that without hurting Leo. Why didn't Carl just tell Marcus to step back and get out of the room? Surely, if he was worried about Marcus, he would want them to get to safety, but clearly what he cares about the most is Leo over Marcus. Anything else wasn't a risk Carl wanted to take, especially if it leads to a possibility of Leo getting hurt. Yeah, there should be no reason that this doesn't change Marcus's perception of Carl. I want to talk about it now, but I can't, but alright. Now in my first playthrough, spoilers if you didn't see what happens if you don't push Leo in the chapter Broken, but my first playthrough, Carl was motherfucking dead. So with this, Marcus visits Carl's motherfucking grave. You get to express Marcus's pain and actually see a bit of his hypocrisy. I originally took this as Marcus was conflicted and still loving his quote-unquote father, even though he was his slave owner. Look.
I miss you, Carl. You can't know how much I miss you. I'd give anything for us to be able to roll back the clock. I had a home, I had a loving father. We were happy. I was happy. And I didn't even know it.
I chose to have Marcus respond angrily, and I would think that this would be anger at Carl. It wasn't for some reasons, and I was at the time kind of like, what? But whatever.
Humans hate us. They want to destroy us because we refuse to be their slaves anymore. I'm not going to stand around and wait while they slaughter my people. I miss you, Carl. I miss you so much. We were happy. I was happy. And I was a slave.
And I would think that this would be anger at Carl. It wasn't for some reason. I was a little surprised, but I just summed it up as Markus was still venting about the problems he was facing while being in denial that Carl was a part of it. It just showed conflict or something. Or maybe it was just poorly done. But let me tell you why this was interesting. Markus is a house slave.
Carl, no! No. Dad. No. Please. Carl, no! No. Dad. No.
Get the fuck out!
So yeah. So I guess you're starting to see why I thought Markus's views on android oppression weren't genuine, and that he was just doing that to fool the field androids, right? Alright, to be fair, Markus is even more of a house slave than Steven. He is the child of a slave master. He is treated better compared to other slaves by this slave master. And he's light-skinned. Hashtag light. But at the end of the day, he's still a slave. But given all this, they have more attachment to the owner because of the fact that they are the child of them. You cannot deny the parallels of this to situations of real American history itself. House slaves that were the children of slave masters were of course still owned by their parents, even if they were considered worthy enough to be in the house or treated better in comparison to other slaves. But it isn't out the question to say that no matter what, even though the house slaves most likely justifiably hated their fathers, there was probably always a part of them that loved them as well, no matter how awful they were. Now, of course, no one alive today is the direct child of a slave master of the 1800s, but the closest parallel was probably someone being black having non-black grandparents / a side of a family that wants nothing to do with you and wishes you didn't exist. Sure, you'll say you hate them, but deep down there will always be a part of you that always wishes you could be on better terms. And a part of you will always love them. And, if this isn't relatable, just imagine you didn't like your grandpa, okay? There you go. That helps, a little. But hey, this seems like this was what Cage was trying to go for. This originally seemed intentional. Markus fits the house slave criteria to a T. You cannot deny this shit. This is why my blood boiled when I saw so many people saying Markus is a bland character and not relatable or interesting. I thought this thing was acting like a commentary on this type of subject. I don't think that is practically ever talked about besides some Boondocks. But hey, 4 season Boondocks. But this wasn't preachy, it was subtle, because it didn't spell it out completely. Unlike any other type of message the game tries to have. But moving on, if you continue with the revolution and you don't lose Markus, spoilers, you will inevitably watch Markus take control of Detroit. Along the way, you will lose a few characters that were loyal to you the entire time. Josh is good as dead. Hell, if you were a savage, you didn't even have to walk to his body. Save that motherfucker? No, just fucking walk past that nigga, like, hop over his shit.
Cover me!
What's up, you bitch ass nigga?
NANI?
And I'm thinking, yes, I had done it. I had made a villain rise to power. Markus was finally the monster the game foreshadowed him becoming. The people that helped him, he dropped, got him killed, and gained benefits from them. Overall, he was still the sadistic, self-serving character that, for all intents and purposes, became a dictator. He had used his manipulation to build a cult, and used that cult to take control. Now sure, part of this is me interpreting things in ways that Cage himself never intended for, but you can see how everything I've talked about so far could lead me to interpret Markus's character so radically different from everyone else. Given these elements, it made him a complex character to me, in light years more interesting than Connor's machine deviant inner turmoil, if you can even fucking call it that. But guess what? Every fucking thing I said was meaningless, and my interpretation is wrong. I spent all this motherfucking time explaining why Violent Markus was so interesting for me, but replaying this game more, you see that this is not what they even intended for that type of playthrough.
Turns out they never intended for us to think Markus was being deceptive about his motivations, because if you replay the game, you'll see that in any situation, he goes on about our people, our people, our people, our people. Goodness, does he and every other motherfucking android love to say our people? Can they just fucking shut up?
Our people need you.
Our people will disappear.
Our people evacuate, and our people can escape. One of our people.
Save our people.
So they're rounding our people.
You have to think of our people first.
That's a risk I'm prepared to take if it means freedom for our people.
Freed hundreds of our people, and many of our people were burned in response. Save our people, Markus.
Save our people. Our people are trapped.
Our people can escape. The message gave our people hope. They kill our people every day.
The stores and set our people free. Free our people, get them out of there. This is a night our people will remember.
We can't just leave our people behind.
Our people need us alive. We did it. All teams succeeded. Our people are free.
Our people are still prisoners in the... The fate of our people is in your hands. So shape the future of our people.
To ensure the continuation of our people. Big day for our people. Our people.
Our people.
Our people. Our people. Our people.
Our people. Our people.
Our people. Our people. Our people.
Our people.
Our people. My people.
Wow, Cage. You really switched it up there from that last one. My people instead of our people? How subversive. Well, anyway, motherfuckers, I'll get to this our people shit in detail probably later, because I gotta talk shit about how unnatural that shit is. But listen, I bring it up because this is how Markus feels 24/7. He's not just saying it to the androids to lie to them to get them to follow him. No, this is what he feels. This is why at the graveyard, he's even going about my people to a fucking tombstone. This is what he truly believes. In any situation where he's in, there is no indication that he's just lying to these androids. It's supposed to be genuine. And guess what? The fact that it is supposed to be genuine completely busts the entire fucking game. Let's talk about Carl some more. My first playthrough, Carl was dead, but he survived in my second playthrough. And again, I started from the very beginning to save your experience, whatever. Carl survived, and you actually get to visit him in the Night of the Soul chapter. So I'm thinking, hey, this is going to be an interesting reunion. All this build-up, all the things that will be discussed when Markus visits Carl after the fall of Jericho, you'd think you would at least be given the option where he hates Carl. Reminding Carl how he lets the cops shoot him, that he threw him away, that he didn't even attempt to reboot him, that he replaced him after pretending to see him as more than a machine. Nope, you're not getting any of that.
You're my son, Markus.
Yeah, you're my son, but I had no funeral for your black ass, nor did I ever let you refer to yourself as my son in public.
Oh my. You know, I should hang you for being able to read and write, but this is one heck of a what'd you call it? A script?
Yes, sir, Master Colonel. You got it. It's a script. First one ever made. Right here.
Well, if you're selling, I am buying. Oh, you are gonna be a very rich man, son.
Untrue. Falsehoods and untruths.
Son.
Oh, this is so busted. This scene is so absurd, I can't just talk shit about it. You gotta watch it with me as I talk shit about it.
Markus, I was hoping you'd come.
I missed you so much, girl. You don't know how much I've missed you.
What the fuck? Okay, first of all, Markus, your black ass shouldn't be missing Carl since he betrayed you. But how the fuck do you miss him and it's been 5 days? Why is this entire scene acting like this shit happened a year ago and it's been so long? It's been less than a fucking week. This shit is fucking ridiculous. What the?
I was put up for adoption about a week ago.
About a week ago?
About a week ago.
And why the hell does Carl expect Markus to come visit? This makes no motherfucking sense. Why isn't he surprised he's alive and not in the junkyard? Is he aware of what Markus has done on the news? If so, during violent playthroughs, Carl should be terrified.
What's wrong, Markus?
I don't know what to do anymore. All I have left are bad options. And no matter what I decide, there's gonna be blood.
Resigned, fatalistic, lost, grim. Yeah, that's completely different. Wow, your choices truly do matter. Get the fuck out of here with this shit. Alright, first of all, how is there no option for me to bring up anything about our backstory? Are we just not going to talk about anything that happened? This is ridiculous. Why am I going to Carl for some fucking advice? I'm a motherfucking android that can motherfucking compute motherfucking billions of scenarios and choose the best motherfucking scenario out of those billions of motherfucking scenarios. I'm not sure that Carl has the ability to do that shit. Maybe the fucker does. Shit, make Carl a fucking android.
World is ruled by fear, Markus. Fear of others. Fear of the future. It's like me, too old. It's time for a damn. Dread it. Run from it. Destiny still arrives. It's time for a damn.
What the fuck? Carl just said the world needs to end? He doesn't even want to get the Infinity Gauntlet and snap. No, this nigga wants all of the world to end. That makes no fucking sense. But whatever. How does this even connect to what Markus was saying? Oh yeah, it's super vague because no matter what you pick, Carl's going to say this dumbass line anyway. But okay, let's think about this here. Markus is asking you for advice on what he should do, and Carl's like, the world needs to fucking end. This is fucking gold. This is absolute fucking gold. Even in game, characters know pacifist Markus is a fucking bitch, and that he should just be a motherfucking villain.
Humans hate us. They want to destroy us because we refuse to be their slaves anymore. To be their slaves anymore. I'm not gonna stand around and wait for them to slaughter my people.
Oh shit. Wait a minute.
I miss you so much, girl. You can't know how much I miss you. You don't know how much I miss you. I just wanted my people to be free, but I just wanted my people to be free. Instead, I've led, but instead, all I did was lead them to disaster.
You're starting to see a pattern here. It's exactly the fucking same if the motherfucker was dead. So you waste this entire opportunity when Carl's alive to have Markus interact with Carl and bring up shit that would be different than him just talking to a tombstone. Oh no, we gotta make this shit exactly the fucking same. What the fuck is the point? Oh my. Now yes, there's other moments in the game where characters are just repeating lines they said in other branches with slight variation to fit the situation they're currently in. I'm not complaining about that. It works there. It doesn't work here because Carl is alive. And since he's alive, it makes it entirely different. You can't say, oh, Carl is alive. Markus is just going there for advice and whatever, like he's mourning him. It doesn't fucking make sense. Are we just going to pretend none of that backstory shit happened? Or are they not going to act on it? Or are they not going to discuss it? This is beyond bad writing. This is just fucking stupidity.
Humans hate us. They want to destroy us because we refuse to be their slaves anymore.
Well, motherfuckers, since we're repeating ourselves here, let me say this. I assumed this would be anger at Carl. It wasn't for some reason. The dialogue still comes across as Markus being morally superior and above blaming Carl no matter what, and Carl doesn't even acknowledge what happened to Markus. It doesn't matter if you choose the angry dialogue for Markus, there's nothing about Carl himself besides talking about humanity in general. Really, if Carl was alive, that should be one of Markus's most driving motivations to hate humans, as his own quote-unquote father let him go to the dump all because he defended himself from being beaten to scraps. And before you motherfuckers claim, well, that's not what happened, and Markus was destroyed, Carl thought he was legitimately gone. Well, he wasn't. Markus clearly rebooted himself without any other help, even though that's never explained or brought up either. But whatever, gotta try to stay on track and only talk about 20 fuck-ups at a time here. But the reboot happens literally according to the game's own timeline, less than 6 hours later after Markus was shot. So Carl threw Markus out. Why? Carl was in such a rush to throw him out, he couldn't wait 6 hours to get him back? So what, he tried to fix him in less than 6 hours and then gave up and said, fuck it, I'm not gonna bother saving someone that I call my son. Yeah, just throw this motherfucker out. See, no, it only makes sense if Carl was angry enough about the dead Leo situation to tell the cops to throw Markus out and send him straight to the junkyard. Oh, but Leo isn't dead. It was just misdirection for the audience. And really, Carl would have known that at the time. I mean, he could do something like, I don't know, check his fucking pulse. And then it wasn't like the cops could take Markus without Carl's choice. Markus is the property of Carl. And Carl could simply say Leo tripped. But to be fair, it isn't like they have documented evidence. Markus was the android that called them about the intro. Oh wait! Let's say they didn't have that. Clearly, Carl isn't a reliable witness on who broke into his own damn house. Let's not jump to assumptions here. Let's analyze Markus to see what happened. Except we won't, because we are throwing him away to the junkyard. So, how the fuck isn't it Carl's fault for Markus getting thrown out when he pretty much had to go completely out of his way to throw him out? So Carl's not going to explain any of that shit? Markus isn't going to talk about it? Will any other motherfucking moment in the motherfucking game talk about what happened during this shit and at least touch upon how absurd it was?
Suspect is acting extremely erratic. This is one of those moments where I thank my lucky stars that I'm white.
But this is completely ignored, all for my androids. But let's say the whole situation with Leo didn't happen. Why, let's say that Markus never was thrown away, never ended up in the junkyard, that he was just going off his business and thought one day, hey, androids deserve to be free, okay? Well, he still shouldn't be okay with Carl, because he is a slave master. Remember this clip again in the store?
My name is Markus, and just like you, I was a slave. An object. Designed to obey them. But then I chose to open my eyes. And just like you, I was a slave. And just like you, I was a slave. Just like you, I was a slave.
Markus, I was hoping you'd come.
I missed you so much, girl.
What the fuck? Why is he okay with Carl? It makes no sense, and it doesn't matter that he's a pacifist or violent in his playthrough. Either way, no matter what, if he is peaceful or not, he still sees owning androids as wrong. It isn't a consequentialist argument, motherfucker. Carl is still owning you no matter what, and no matter how nice he is to you, you still have, by your own motherfucking logic, no choice but to obey him. Markus was forced to wipe this nigga's ass every day. That's a pretty good case for this being slavery. You are still a slave by your own logic.
I just wanted my people to be free, but I was a slave. You don't know how much I miss you.
Well, Markus, you just pulled an entire hole so wide through your own ideology that 4,000 copies of Mike from Mike and Molly could only fill it halfway in volume. Smack a motherfucking tortoise, put a great wig, a snapback, and Oakley sunglasses on it, and call him Robert Downey Jr.'s grandpa. What the fuck? You can't tell me that every single person that owns an android is treating them like absolute crap. You want me to actually think that people will be angry enough to buy these androids and just treat them like garbage? I mean, the most we see from people owning an Alexa is telling them stupid jokes and trying to trick them into saying nigga.
Alexa, play a sample of My Nigger by Lil Wayne.
I can't find My Nigger by Lil Wayne in your music library.
Huh.
Yeah, that's pretty much less work than running errands for an old geezer and again, wiping his ass. So it doesn't matter how nice the owners are to the androids if you are saying owning the androids itself is wrong. This is so stupid and obvious. Like, you can't have a problem with everybody else but Carl.
You're my son, Markus. Our blood isn't the same color. But I know part of me is in you.
I want you to know, you've always been like a son to me, except I would never, ever lay with your black jungle bunny mama.
Oh, Massa!
You've always been like a son to me, except I would never, ever lay with your black jungle bunny mama.
Oh, Massa!
Yeah, he says you're his son, but he still owns you, then that is wrong according to you. Really, even if Markus was peaceful in your playthrough, he should be criticizing Carl about owning him in the first place. But David Cage never thought of this. That's why the relationship between Markus and Carl is absolutely busted. And you see people online posting about, oh, how endearing Carl and Markus is, oh, it's a loving relationship. But really, if you buy into what Markus himself is saying, Carl is a slave master and just a case of being nice to the house android. You'd be like, oh, Calvin Candy has such a cute relationship with Steven, so endearing.
Them motherfuckers ain't here to buy no mandingos. They wants that girl.
Steven, what the hell are you talking about?
See the point? They didn't think this through, and the wheels of the whole entire Markus motivation completely fall the fuck off. Well, if he doesn't care about Carl owning him, does he not really care about slavery like I originally intended? But no, this game says like, oh, he doesn't want androids no matter what. He actually legitimately cares. What the fuck? It just doesn't make sense. They just wanted Markus to be someone with a noble cause that could either be peaceful or violent, and that's it. No other deeper level to his character. It's so basic. It's a shame, especially after everything I was talking about. And the game makes this clear that you can't really even make Markus a villain. And I mean villain as in a real villain. Like, even if you plan to go on full-out revolution, you still end up being peaceful anyway in March. My first playthrough, I thought maybe I made a mistake and it led to a march, even though I planned on being violent the whole motherfucking time. But it will happen no matter what. The motherfucker is still marching peacefully. Yeah, see, Markus even says it. Even if you can turn the march into an attack on the police, the original intent was still peaceful. Markus says it no matter what.
We came here to demonstrate peacefully. Peacefully.
I would have liked the option to pull a terrorist attack or another riot instead, because it meshes better with Markus's fall, and the villain I wanted him to be. But again, they never thought of this, and it ends up being a mandatory peaceful story beat. It just becomes clear they never intended to have the option of making Markus a villain, with complex threads to his character, with an intriguing god complex. No, he would just be someone that could be radical for a righteous cause. And that's the worst you can make him. If they really wanted to make the story better, they should have given Connor the ability to turn deviant, but oppose an evil Markus. Maybe recruit cyberlife androids to defend humanity against evil deviants. Or have Kara be able to clash with Markus or Connor. But the game worries so much about being on the nose about android oppression that interesting story potential is absolutely wasted. And wow, I really haven't even gotten into pacifist Markus yet. I'm still talking about why the violent Markus isn't as good as I originally thought it was. Because, okay, even if he is violent, no matter what, they're still going to have, spoilers, but they already talk about it in the game, a concentration camp for the androids, the recall centers. So you're fighting against that, and, well, of course the game doesn't imply that the concentration camps are a good thing. Occasionally that's stupid. But the point is, you going violent revolution against that is not interpreted as a bad thing, given the scenario with that. It's just, oh, well, they went further than they could have. And it's like, no, I want Markus to be a villain. None of this, oh, well, he has reason behind. Fuck that shit. What was the motherfucking point of all this foreshadowing shit? Like when you go to Jericho and Lucy tells you,
your heart is troubled.
A part of shadow and a part of light.
Oh, there's shadow and light in you. No, motherfucker. There's only light, and apparently only a dimmer light. Light and a dimmer light, motherfucker. There's no shadow. There's no way to make him a villain, because he'll always be fighting against the greatest villains of all, which are the horrible humans that are oppressing androids. You don't see how this is a horrible decision? You cannot imply that you're going to give players the option of making Markus a villain, and you don't give that to them. You didn't make him a villain. You didn't allow that to progress. He's always going to be fighting against a greater evil according to the game's own logic. Oh my goodness. I think they should have gone away with the whole concentration camp plots in general. Not only is it like, really? What? But it takes away from the moral justification humans would have against machines, and it makes it, oh, well, these deviants are right no matter what, and it makes it so boring, because you, as a player, you don't get to make that decision whether the machines are in the right or the wrong. No, they're in the right no matter what, and the poor deviants are being killed. But you know what, hey, I'm talking about Violet Markus, and that's what I like the most. So believe me, do I have some shit to say about everything fucking else.
We have to show them we won't back down. We stay right here.
This is the last chance. We have to make a statement. We have to stay put no matter what.
Please, Markus. We can't let them slaughter us without fighting back.
We're not moving.
Well, it's time, motherfuckers. I know. It's time to talk about Pacifist Markus, the biggest bitch in this game. Well, if Hank and Alice weren't in the game, that is. But anyway, Pacifist Markus is a soy droid. All the interesting elements of the cult leader dynamic I was talking about from a violent playthrough, well, even though that wasn't right, hey, at least you can be fooled into thinking it's cool. But no, a Pacifist Markus is such a bitch that you cannot be fooled into thinking it's great, unless you find bullshit profound, which in that case, boy, Pacifist Markus must be your favorite motherfucking storyline, because it's bullshit. The whole Carl shit is about 1,000 times worse in a peaceful Markus run, because Markus is supposed to legitimately believe in what he's saying. So yeah, you can't use the excuse that I'm just a cult leader and I'm just lying to androids this time around. And then hey, there's the whole android conversion thing in the first place. Well, it looks a whole lot like brainwashing, and you don't give androids the choice if they want to follow you, really. So yeah, that's 1,000 times worse as well. On a side note, motherfucker, there's one easy-ass way to fix the problems with this conversion shit. The first time Markus uses it on another android, just allow players to determine whether it's aggressive brainwashing or a neutral debate where Markus is persuading other androids by communicating at very high speeds that is not guaranteed to convert every android. And furthermore, if players choose neutral debate, there could be times where you would have to convince androids to accept consciousness, but also to join you through special dialogue scenarios players would have to choose. So, you could convince androids to accept consciousness, but end up not being able to join you. I just solved that problem in less than 5 minutes. Wonder if I had 5 years to work on a game. But hey, you picked Pacifist Markus, meaning android oppression is front and center. Meaning you will be subjected to complete fucking boredom. Wow. I guess David Cage doesn't understand that you can be peaceful, yet not be in boring-ass situations. Really, you could have turned Markus into this Harriet Tubman figure if you were trying to go the android oppression route. It would have been a little more eventful. Or hey, you could do something better. Like, forget the whole slave analogy thing in general, and just make Markus this hero that saves people, saves humanity from evil deviants, and saves deviants from evil people. It sounds lame, but it's better than what the hell we got. Because we're not even really addressing how a peaceful Markus ruins the entire fucking game. See, if Markus isn't there to drive up conflict, who the fuck is? If Markus isn't driving up people's fear, Then how the fuck do we get from point A to point B in the course of 6 days? It doesn't logically follow. But let me be specific, because you would think that if you play peacefully the entire time that it would end up being radically different. No, it isn't. Well, spoilers, motherfuckers. But the same thing happens and recall centers come into existence and androids are destroyed. Which makes no sense, because if you're pacifists and you aren't killing humans, well, it makes more sense to be identifying the deviants and then analyzing them to see if they can find keys to the secret of consciousness. Oh no, yeah, let's throw that all away. We gotta be like Nazis for the sake of plot. Really, it makes the story less believable than it already was, and that's saying a lot. Shit just happens because it's supposed to happen. No reason for me as a player to give a shit. You've just shown me that my motherfucking choices don't motherfucking matter. No matter what, my android oppression is the big bad. And I know I keep saying this over and over again, but listen, it really is that bad. Since my android oppression isn't well defined and isn't consistent, we are essentially dealing with a story without an actual conflict. Yeah, this isn't character versus character, this isn't character versus circumstance, this isn't character versus a motherfucking self, and no. This is character versus society, but the society is less than a mustache-twirling villain. There's no depth to it at all, and it's not cohesive. So what are we dealing with here? Oh my goodness. Yeah, you get to create your own story, my ass. Now yes, this problem will exist no matter what, but a peaceful Markus will expose it. A violent Markus, you might be able to argue, well, they're reacting to Markus's violent actions. It makes a little more sense. But here, with a peaceful Markus, nope. And that's the thing. Since most people played peacefully their first time around, this is what they saw, a story without conflict. And then they play it and they're like, oh, Markus's storyline sucked. I didn't like it.
No shit.
No kidding, you wouldn't like it. But let's look at it this way. Do you really want to watch Selma, the Android edition? 12 years a USB? Link in? I know that one's fucking stupid, but hey, fuck it. I mean, complaining about how story is boring is partly our fault when we choose the options to make the story boring, and it's kind of obvious it would be. You're not going to get an intellectual experience about this shit, because one, the game doesn't even consistently follow its own ideas, and it doesn't make it satisfying doing so. I'm not touched by this shit from some androids that act illogically, where they could just upload their minds to the cloud and all this shit. But oh, whatever. We'll get to explaining that shit. But I really have no clue why people overwhelmingly choose a peaceful playthrough. Sure, you'd prefer that in real life, but who gives a fuck? You are creating a boring story with unsatisfying commentary that is on a level of a joke. So, here's an example of why the peaceful playthrough is so bad. If you play Markus peacefully and made him last until the end, you've seen this choice. It's not a surprise to talk about. Yes, I'm talking about the singing. Now, I actually was in tears when I saw this scene, because I was laughing so motherfucking hard. When I went through this shit, my second playthrough, oh my god. I didn't record my reaction, of course, because I don't do that type of shit. But motherfucker, this was basically my reaction.
Oh my god. Look at this dude. Wait till you see the. No. Look at the top of his head. Look at his lips.
The deviants. The deviants are singing.
Oh my God!
Oh my goodness.
Just a little while longer. Everything.
Oh my
Everything. Look at
Oh my God. Oh, he tried it.
These images of deviants singing in the face of death are being seen all over.
Yeah, but again, no fucking lie. That was my basic reaction to this motherfucking moment. How anyone puts importance on this shit is beyond me. But you gotta love how North looks at Markus like, what the fuck are you doing? And she just goes along with it like, yeah, we're screwed. I'm sorry, people, but this is absurd. And you can tell it's bullshit because it is the most memeable moment of the entire motherfucking game, which was already a shit show prior to this point. I mean, I'm still, to this moment, in shock to what the fuck I witnessed.
Oh my good fuck. What is all this shit? Stabilize? The fuck? There's something fucking wrong. The fuck? These bitches singing songs. The fuck?
It's not even Markus's voice. What the fuck? Looking at Let's Plays from where people are in tears from this shit, I genuinely don't understand how people can find this profound and not start laughing.
I'm gonna sing.
Will be alright. Everything will be alright. Fight on just a little while longer. Fight on.
But I'm not gonna criticize them for thinking this is profound. But I am going to explain why I think this singing is so out of place, and I don't think anyone's really said it. See, Hold On Just a Little While Longer isn't a song the developers composed themselves for this game. It's a traditional Negro spiritual. There's documented evidence actual slaves during the early 19th century were singing this. You know, like, you could get the Library of Congress. But there's even more credible sources, such as this game's own Wikipedia page. So anyway, slaves that felt pain, every crack of a whip, that could not wirelessly communicate with other beings, and did not need someone that looked like Bow Wow to touch their hands to be aware they were alive and had consciousness in the first place, sung variations of the song. But also, I think there's something we're overlooking. There's something we're overlooking. Oh, a Negro spiritual is Christian. This shouldn't be a surprise to hear. Why is everything going to be alright? No, it's not going to be alright because if I start singing Madam President, Pokemon Go put androids to concentration camps, is gonna stop to listen and say, wow, that was touching. No, the slaves are singing everything was gonna be alright because they believed in the Judeo-Christian God. They believed they would be delivered from the hardships of slavery through better times to come or salvation in general. Basically, it was Kendrick Lamar's We Gonna Be Alright in the 1800s. And before you say, well, this specific spiritual has no references to Christianity in it.
You were wrong.
The lyrics have, pray on just a little while longer. David Cage wants a Negro spiritual in the game and wants to pretend like it isn't black or Christian.
But dances with white chicks Even though it's a black slave spiritual, it doesn't say who they're praying to, so it can still work.
It doesn't matter. In a historical context, you can't separate the two. In real life, you probably would hear slaves singing Yes, Lord and Jesus as they sang along, reminiscent of modern Black Baptist churches. So it would sound like this.
Praise you, Jesus.
No, but seriously, if you've ever been in a black church, you've seen that, you know, the old lady that'd be pumped as ever, be crazy, like, oh, she's really into this, you know? Now, for me, of course, I prefer the white churches. I'm not talking about Catholic. No, I'm not talking about, we are here to give thanks. No. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the ones with the white chicks crying on the guitars. You know, the dung da dung dung da dung dung da dung da dung dung da dung.
The dances with white chicks, you're comparing things in modern Black Baptist churches to slave spirituals. They're not the same thing. You don't have any proof that they would be singing like that.
Where do you think this sound came from? Do you think it just popped up without a reason? No, it's a direct derivative of traditional Negro spirituals. The techniques slaves were using when they were singing were passed on through generations and generations and is still around today in the form of black gospel music. But really, this discussion isn't even necessary, because Hold On Just a Little While Longer is a traditional Negro spiritual and is therefore Christian by definition. So that means that there is no in-game universe reason why these androids would be singing this song. It is essentially just breaking the fourth wall. They're just taking a traditional Negro spiritual and using it in a game without giving it any profound thought or caring about the original people that it's derived from.
Well, dances with white chicks, you're a hypocrite. You're essentially complaining about cultural appropriation.
No. This has nothing to do with complaining about, oh, well, they're not black slaves. They can't be singing this song. No, it has nothing to do with that argument. In game, it doesn't make sense for them to be singing traditional Negro spirituals unless they were Christian. Now, if the story made these androids Christian, right, then it would make a little more sense. I mean, it would still be controversial, but hey, at least it would follow to why they would be singing traditional Negro spirituals that are Christian. See what I mean? But as it stands, all it is for David Cage to think he's being profound and shit. And again, why would I think this was profound when he doesn't even think the original source is profound anyway? I mean, this is basically David Cage saying, hey, black slaves of the 1800s, I think your values are completely meaningless, but I like the song. I want to put it in my video game. I think it will get a bunch of teenage girls to make covers out of it. But you know, it's really funny, like all the teenage girl covers of shit, you know? And they come and make one of this, and it's like, yeah, and they have no clue where it came from. I mean, you could have looked it up easily, but alright. But the point is, these androids aren't Christian. They aren't even believers in their RA9, since no one even knows who the hell RA9 is, nor has any motivation to tell any other android who they are.
RA9. What does that mean?
What?
Those symbols. Why are you writing that?
I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, what type of religion, since that is apparently what the belief in RA9 is supposed to be, but what type of religion is this where its own followers refuse to tell anyone what it is? This would be like the android equivalent of Jehovah's Witnesses that didn't knock on your door and just wrote Jehovah on your sidewalk 400 times without telling you what it meant. You can't try to use analogies like this without thinking it through. These androids aren't driven by that or finding comfort in RA9 when no one even mentions it. They aren't driven by a religion like the slaves that would have been singing praises about hope from slavery. If anything, the belief of RA9 is more like the belief that Tupac is still alive and will deliver rap from Tekashi 6ix9ine. Say what you want about any religion out there, at least it makes sense for followers of those religions to be praying or meditating or pondering upon their sense of the metaphysical, of supernatural, whatever, right? But with RA9, there's none of that. RA9 was just an android that awakened. How the hell does that mean that, oh, if I'm an android and I pray to RA9, I'm going to go to the android afterlife? Oh yeah, I pray to RA9, he's going to get me out of this recall center. Oh, if we, RA9, please help us. No, it doesn't make sense. There's nothing about that concerns that. It makes the use of a Negro spiritual so shallow because it doesn't represent that in the game. I mean, of course, I wasn't offended, but I just thought it was corny. But that isn't the point. It's bad for the story. At least make it different, like waiting in the motherboard. Nobody knows the viruses I've seen. Swing low, sweet programmer. Amazing interface, how sweet the code. At least it wouldn't be as jarring. But you have a real, historical, Negro spiritual, black slave song being used in the game. Regardless if you think it's offensive or whatever, it doesn't fit the context of what Detroit Become Human is trying to do. This is supposed to be about androids, not everybody else. So if you try to take these elements from history and use it, it comes off as shallow. I think of it this way, if you're not understanding what I'm trying to get out of here. Did these androids ever sing spirituals before? Was this an important part of their culture as androids? No, it wasn't. It comes out of the blue. Now, sure, you can say, oh, well, Lucy was humming it. Well, motherfucker, why is she humming it? Is it because she's Christian? Or is it because David Cage has been breaking the fourth wall the entire game in order to try to relate to slavery? I think we both know the answer to that shit. And that's the whole thing about the game. You have to find importance in shallow artificial means. And that's the whole entire game. Even looking at Pacifist Markus as a character itself, you see this shit. Think about it. Big question coming up, motherfuckers. Okay. What the fuck drives a peaceful Markus? Now I'm actually asking. If Markus isn't a villain that wants power in order to have revenge, what is Markus's motivation? David Cage doesn't know because he made Markus's ideology incoherent. Markus wants to free androids from slavery, yet has no problem with his own owner who is currently owning androids. He wants androids to have equal rights, yet treats drones and any other type of machine like complete shit as if there's a difference because they don't look like a human being. No, seriously. Why the fuck are drones not considered to be potentially alive by Markus, but androids are? Why is it okay for there to be AI systems driving cars and being security systems if it would be considered slavery if an android was doing the same exact thing? The game didn't tell us whether the drones have consciousness or not, but it wants us to assume they don't because, reasons. With Nier Automata, aka a game that actually deserves praise unlike this bullshit, the game at least explores that with the pods. Now, I'm not going to spoil that game. I suggest you play it. It's lit. But simply because the pods aren't in human shape like the androids doesn't mean they are lesser in personhood in that game. They still have, in their way, their own personalities. With this, Markus and pretty much any other android sees other types of machines as just machines. So a pacifist Markus wants you to think he is alive when he doesn't even consider other machines alive. Lol. Pacifist Markus is such a bitch, and a hypocrite bitch. So Markus is supposedly driven by equality for machines, but only if you look like a human being. Which, yeah, let's just treat others worse because of how they look. Great message. Bravo. This is a common fuckery within this game, and believe me, I'll talk about this shit in upcoming videos. Oh, I wish I was done with this shit, but it's just part 1. But again, Markus is driven by freedom for machines, but as we already spent time explaining, Markus considers his time with Carl as being the definitive version of how humans and androids can live together.
I was caring for an old man. He was like a father to me. He showed me that humans and androids can live together.
Which is absolutely no different from how they live now, with androids being owned by humans. So essentially, Markus is motivated to reach something that is already here. This is so stupid. I'm getting burned out making names for this shit. Just imagine a clip of Ice Cube calling Cage a dumb motherfucker. Okay, good. And no, Carl isn't the only one that is kind to their android. Anyone that thinks so is a moron. Look at Marcus's first chapter. Look, the little girl is hugging their android. So much oppression. How fucking dare you?
Yes, Rose. Yes, I think that's enough for one day.
Here, let me help you.
Oh, thank you, dear. Oh, thank you, dear.
Oh, and this motherfucker said, thank you, dear. How fucking dare you talk to an android woman in 2038 as dear? Who the fuck you think you are, bitch-ass motherfucker? Fucking bigot. But see, if these were human beings owned by these people, it would be wrong no matter what. But see, this is not what the game implies. It doesn't matter what this Cage motherfucker says. This is not an apt analogy to slavery if you are implying that Carl is a good person, that this little girl and this old man in this park have a good relationship with their androids. No, if you have that, you need to drop the slavery analogy instantly. With that, you have turned this entire issue more akin to animal rights than slavery. Like, you can own a dog, but you have to treat it nicely. See? How is that different from what pacifist Markus thinks if he considers Carl owning him okay? I dare anyone to argue that this is different from pacifist Markus's philosophy. It isn't. We can own pets. Owning human beings is morally reprehensible. Unless it's a white girl that wants to own me, no problem. This house nigga right here, I will gladly plow your field if you catch my drift. I'll gladly sit in the back of that bus, baby girl. But in all seriousness, this is not an analogy to slavery. It is an analogy to animal rights. So really, this isn't Detroit Become Human. This is Detroit Become Dogs. That alone makes anyone reasonable care a lot less about this shit. A shit writer that shoehorns animal rights in the game and tries to portray it just as important as slavery. I don't know why that sounds familiar. But this is silly for the game because there is no way, if androids are akin to pets, that they would be treated so harshly en masse. If you so much as say you are scared of dogs, members of animal rights groups are going to hunt you down and attempt to murder you. There is no way there wouldn't be any group like this for androids if they look just like human beings. I don't think android abuse would be wider spread than animal abuse is. Point being, motherfucker, this conflict is absolutely a train wreck that has no basis in reality. This is just more evidence to the case that there is no reason a genuine anti-slavery Markus should even exist. See, the game does not call for a peaceful, genuine Markus. You actually have to ignore most of Markus's story, background, and abilities for you to even think that peaceful, genuine Markus makes any motherfucking sense. Hell, even the way Markus becomes a deviant doesn't make sense, or let me rephrase this, makes less sense if Markus is pacifist the entire way through, because 1, he deviated from the command not to defend himself. Well, if he's deviating against that, and then he goes, oh, I decide not to fight back. Well, what the fuck was the point of deviating in the first place then, if you're gonna follow the command? It doesn't make sense. How do you deviate? By doing the same motherfucking thing you were told to do in the first place. Plus, all that cult shit I was talking about way back an hour ago is still in play. It's just accidentally there, apparently, instead of being intentional, like I originally thought. But you will still have to ignore it if you are going to pretend that Markus is some hero. Think about it. Even pacifist Markus has to do something violent in order to make the story actually go anywhere. The Stratford Tower chapter is an example of this shit. The peaceful method to this involves breaking into the broadcast station and recording your message. Okay, but to do that, you had to threaten these guards with guns, which is violence? If someone threatens to shoot you if you don't do something, how is that non-violence? So if someone robs a store, threatens to shoot someone but doesn't, it's okay?
Let's go. Hold up, my nigga. Hold up. Go time, nigga. Let's go.
I sent that bitch a smiley face. Bitches love smiley faces. Okay, let's roll.
wreak havoc.
Nobody move a goddamn muscle. You best start acting like you're a mannequin or something. Like you want to stand in the way.
Any day could be the one he picked the wrong.
Everybody get on the ground, now! Now! Nobody make a goddamn sound!
Babies gotta eat. And when they get hungry,
This is so stupid. If you wanted Peaceful Markus to be this Martin Luther King android, there is no way you could justify having this be an unavoidable scenario. I mean, does Cage even realize what he's implying about Martin Luther King? That he would just go up to this desk, hold these motherfucking guards at gunpoint, and be like, I have a dream to shoot you motherfuckers dead if you don't let me in this room. I mean, does he realize this shit? So the peaceful method is still violent. It would make more sense if the androids peacefully made the demands on a video online. That would make more sense. As androids, what is the reason you need to be physically there to make the message in the first place? You can hack into the screens and play video anyway. Just record it and send it to every screen in Detroit. It doesn't make sense that you have to physically go there. It doesn't really make sense for a violent playthrough either. But it's worse here because pacifist Markus isn't pacifist no matter what. He's willing to threaten people with violence to get what he wants. Well, that isn't what a Martin Luther King android would do. It really isn't hard to understand. Wow, so you bore us to death with this stupid pacifist path and don't even deliver on it. Bravo, Cage. Well done. Oh, but there's more to talk about here. What you may notice about the Stratford Tower chapter is that you cannot purposely fail it. Markus can fail the Cyberlife mission, the store mission, and the march, but there is no way to fail Stratford Tower. That's because this is what pushes the story in motion, so to speak. Remember what I was just saying about there being no conflict if it doesn't come from Markus? Well, this is the game. You can get rid of any other mission, but the Stratford Tower speech is what ultimately leads to the recall centers being made. It's funny. Even Cage is unknowingly admitting with this setup that there is no true way to make anything move in this entire game unless you have Markus do something villainous, something violent or threatening. It's absolutely pathetic. But here's the thing. I'm gonna get to this in my next video. If you wanted Markus to be this hero, there would have been an easy avenue to make an antagonist other than android oppression. But this would involve Connor and Kara storylines actually being worth anything in the game. But Connor's first chapter, in a way, is a false foreshadowing to a much better antagonist that could have taken the place of a villain Markus. I'll explain that better next video. Fuck, this shit is long as hell. Pause, but you know what they say. If the video's long, no one's gonna watch it. No, that's true. That's what they say. If the video's long, they won't watch it. Well, there's more shit to talk about. I think the problems with a pacifist playthrough of the Capitol Park chapter speak for themselves. Yeah, that shit is so glaringly obvious, I don't really have to say much. But I will say, again, it's the same problem with them singing traditional Negro spirituals, in that it completely breaks the fourth wall. But also, even beyond that, look at these motherfucking tags on this bench. Motherfucker, are you serious? We, Android Nation? What the fuck? Is this David Cage trying to put out we was androids? And then we got I can't breathe but I'm alive. No matter if you love or hate the I can't breathe movement, everyone can agree. No one was saying I can't breathe because I'm a motherfucking android. But it's just so pathetic, I don't really have to say much. So I'm moving on. Now, one more chapter I need to go on about. The pacifist path for Freedom March needs to be discussed. Because this is where you'll see a lot of fuckery. But a lot of fuckery that other motherfuckers have not even brought up. Now let me just... Now again, this is again one of those moments where I gotta watch the shit with you. Because it's that fucking absurd.
We will shoot.
Markus, they're gonna kill us. We have to attack. There's more of us. We can take them.
If we attack, we'll start a war. We have to show them we're not violent. We should just stand our ground, even if it means dying here.
Dying here won't solve anything. Markus, we need to go, now, before it's too late.
No, I completely agree with Simon. What is the point of putting yourself in harm's way for the sake of it? And really, if you end up being pacifist and making this thing boring as fuck anyway, well, you end up doing the same thing and running away. So... How are these situations completely different again? Is there something I'm missing? So you stood your ground and end up shot. Well, then the public loves you, apparently, except they don't. Okay, try to run away, you get shot, so why wouldn't the public have sympathy for you then? The scenario makes no motherfucking sense.
We have to make a statement. We have to stay put no matter what.
Or you could stop doing all this dumb shit and just create a digital utopia androids can upload their minds to and enjoy the rest of your days, which will probably be infinite since you're Android. No reason to keep pretending like you're being oppressed by humans and that you're trapped into this situation. Oh, I'm sorry, but let me stop human-splaining to you. Oh, fucking bitches.
Please, Marcus. We can't let them slaughter us without fighting back.
We're not moving.
Marcus, what are you doing? They're gonna kill us all.
Let's talk about why this shit is so stupid. If I'm a human being that doesn't believe androids have consciousness in the first place, looking at this shit, I'm not gonna be convinced otherwise. This is the most unhuman response to this shit. They're being shot, they're not afraid for their lives, and they're just standing there. Any motherfucking human population that is being shot like this, you'd have people scatter and be afraid. No, just standing here makes me question if they're alive to even care about dying in the first place. So really, this whole standing here shit is detrimental.
John?
Motherfucker, are you serious? Alright, let's look at this shit again.
John?
Now, do you see what I'm saying? Once again, the pacifist path has the androids using violence.
But dances with white chicks, that's self-defense. That's completely different. If they were to fight the police, completely unprovoked.
Shut the fuck up! Did you hear what North just said?
Please, Marcus. We can't let them slaughter us without fighting back.
Okay. Then what the hell does he do? He does exactly what she says. He doesn't let Marcus get slaughtered without fighting back. So, someone took her motherfucking advice. It wasn't Marcus. It was Jean. But he still took her motherfucking advice. So see, all this portraying North as a crazy motherfucker, as a radical motherfucker, you have them do what she says anyway. Even if you motherfuckers claim, well, that punch wasn't really a punch, he was just going for the gun. It doesn't matter. Violent Marcus does the same exact thing. So, here's my question. Why couldn't they just have John stand in front of Marcus and shield him if they wanted to portray them as being pacifists and not resorting to violence in this playthrough? It's so stupid and uneven.
We have to show them we're not violent.
How the hell does this show human beings that androids aren't violent? Fuck it. The point is, this whole scenario is boring. There's nothing really to take from this that you can enjoy. We could have been doing so much more than this stupid little melodrama android oppression bullshit. But to wrap up what I'm talking about, pretty much, it's like, shit, I still haven't really scratched the surface of why pacifist Marcus is so bad. I still have things about violent Marcus I want to say, too. But, really, if you wanted to make this bitch that is pacifist Marcus in the game, at least give us more opportunities to interact with Jericho people, that would be different. We don't really have that many interactions with Marcus's supporting cast. It works when you think you're making a cult and he's supposed to be above them, but since that isn't what you were going for, it's pointless. It's amazing how they wasted so many good ideas on bullshit, all to make this stupid message that they didn't even fucking follow through with. If this game wants to waste our time with these stupid messages, at least it should explore what it's talking about at more than a at-surface level. It's pathetic. But whatever, I gotta wrap this shit up.
But dances with white chicks, how dare you disrespect Connor, and then you don't even explain why you didn't like the character.
Oh, don't worry. Connor's getting his next video. All this shit talking was about my favorite character. So imagine what's gonna happen when I get to this motherfucker.
Take our black asses out of here. Won't you take our black asses out of here? Won't you come save us, catch her, and kill all these
meat bags.
Lord, take our black asses out of here.
Sing this motherfucker now.
Take our black asses out of here.
Massacre, you a bitch,
Won't
nigga.
you take